I've never believed in hauntings. Not really. Maybe I've watched too many horror films to take them seriously. Jump scares, flickering lights, children's laughter where there shouldn't be any. But this is different. If you're reading this, it means I've decided to post what I've been writing privately for weeks. Possibly because I don't think I have much time left. Or maybe I just need anyone, to believe me. It started with a dog. A stray. That sounds almost laughable. All the horrific things that could happen in this world. And mine begins with a mud on the side of the road. But I swear to you, I've never seen anything like it. I'd recently moved to the edge of town, Edgewater, Oregon. You've probably never heard of it. It's quiet, the kind of place where you hear your own footsteps echo on the street after 8 p.m. After 3 years in the noise-stained fog of Portland, I thought I needed something quieter, cleaner. I work from home, UI/UX design for a travel company. So when I found a small rental house at the edge of a pine grove for cheap, I jumped at it. That Monday, I took my first evening jog through the woods behind my house. I left around 6:30, sun still hanging low and orange like a melting yolk behind the trees. The trail was mostly packed dirt, the kind of path made by years of people walking their dogs or heading to the creek with fishing rods. It was peaceful. Then I saw it. Just as I rounded a bend near an old wooden bench swallowed by moss, a dog sat across the path. It wasn't standing or pacing, just sitting, perfectly still, like a statue. It looked like a German Shepherd mix, maybe. Its fur was matted, blackened with grime and burrs, with one ear half torn. But what really hit me were its eyes. Wide, glassy, and completely unblinking. I slowed down, unsure whether to pass or turn back. "Hey, buddy," I called, cautiously stepping forward. "You lost." The dog didn't move. It didn't growl, didn't wag its tail. Nothing. Just stared. And then I noticed it had blood on its snout. Dried, flaking like rust. I froze. There was no collar. No tag. Okay. I muttered and slowly turned around. I didn't run. I've read you're not supposed to run. So I walked back, glancing behind me every few seconds. The dog didn't follow. Or at least, not that I saw. Woke up feeling off. I hadn't slept well. I dreamt of the woods, of that same dog sitting at the foot of my bed, its head tilted, tongue lolled out slightly like a broken hinge. Its eyes were locked on mine in the dark. I shook it off and went about my routine. Made coffee, sat at my desk, sketched out wireframes. Mid-morning, I opened the curtains to let in some light, and that's when I saw it. In my yard, the same dog, sitting on the edge of the woods, unmoving, watching the house. I stared for maybe 10 full seconds, waiting for it to bark, move, do anything. But it didn't. Its body was still, chest barely rising with breath. I grabbed my phone and took a photo, but by the time I focused, it was gone. Just gone. No running. No noise. No rustle of leaves. I spent the rest of the day pacing between work and the window, but it didn't come back. I didn't see it again until Thursday night. I just come back from the grocery store and was carrying a bag of things up my porch when I heard it. Scratching. At first, I thought it was a raccoon. Then I heard it again, more deliberate, rhythmic. Slow dragging claws along wood. I followed the sound to the side of the house, near my bedroom window. Nothing, but the marks were there. Long scratch lines across the bottom of the siding. 3 deep ones, evenly spaced like claws had raked it deliberately. I stood there in the dark for a long time, breath held. No movement, no sound. I didn't sleep well that night either. I needed to tell someone. My closest friend, Max, lived about 45 minutes away in Tillamook. I called him. "Man, it's probably just some coyote with mange," he said. "You moved into the woods. They've got weird wildlife out there. Coyotes don't just sit and stare without blinking. Have you tried reporting it? Maybe it's rabid." I hadn't. I wasn't sure why, but something in me hesitated. Calling animal control felt wrong. Like it would bring attention I didn't want. Like it would know. "You need to get out more," Max added. "You're always in your own head." Maybe he was right. Maybe I was imagining it. But that night, the dream came again. The dog was in my room. This time it was closer, and I swear its eyes were human. I found footprints. That morning I walked out into the backyard. It had rained during the night. Everything was soaked. And there they were, paw prints in the mud, leading up to my bedroom window. But they weren't right. They were too deep, too spread apart, as if whatever had made them was larger than a normal dog. The spacing was almost human, the strides too long. I followed them into the woods. They disappeared after a few yards. Later, while reviewing my security cam, I caught something. At 3:14 a.m., a shape appears just outside the camera's field of view, just enough to trigger it, but not enough to see clearly. A shadow, something hunched, watching, and then, after exactly 23 seconds, it backs away. Still no blinking. That morning, I finally called animal control, gave them a description. They promised to send someone by within a few days. But something odd happened that afternoon. A man showed up at my door, not in uniform, no marked vehicle. He wore a long gray coat despite the heat, and his shoes were muddy. His face was pale, gaunt. He looked like someone who hadn't slept in days. "You reported a stray," he said. His voice was low and hoarse. "Yeah. Are you with animal control?" He didn't answer, just stared past me into the woods. "What exactly did it look like?" he asked. I described it again, shepherd-like, ragged, wounded. The man didn't blink the entire time I spoke. Then he said, "It doesn't like to be seen, but once it watches you, it remembers." I froze. "What?" "Close your windows at night," he said, turning. "And don't feed it, no matter what it says." What it says. But he was already gone. I didn't want to sleep. I barricaded the windows with cardboard, turned on every light in the house. At 3:12 a.m., the power cut out. I don't know why I looked out the window. I think some part of me already knew it would be there. But when I did, the dog was inches from the glass. Just its face, pressed so close I could see the pink of its inner eyes, the gunk in the corners, the broken whiskers. It didn't move, didn't blink, didn't fog the glass. It was like it wasn't even alive, just a shell. And then, I swear to God, its mouth moved. Not like barking, no snarl, just a slow opening. And then it smiled. I didn't go outside at all today. Didn't shower. Barely ate. I sat at my kitchen table, sipping lukewarm coffee and staring at the boarded windows. I know how this sounds, paranoid, delusional, but something about that dog is wrong. It's not just lost or hurt. It's observing me. Every instinct I've got screams that it's more than just an animal. I checked the window again around 2 p.m., peeking through a gap in the cardboard. It wasn't there. Not that I thought it would be in broad daylight. Still, I saw movement in the distance. A flash of black darting between trees. I jerked back, heart in my throat. I decided to distract myself with work. Opened my laptop. Faked productivity. At exactly 3:14 p.m., the lights in the house flickered. Just for a second. Then the hallway smoke detector gave a single chirp. That's when I noticed the scratching. Faint. barely audible over the hum of the fridge. It wasn't at the door this time, not the siding either. It was coming from inside the wall. I barely slept again. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd hear that slow, dragging scrape, like claws moving deliberately. It wasn't frantic. It was measured. I tried calling animal control again. Left a message. I even tried finding that strange man who had shown up, Googled everything I could. No record of anyone matching his vague description. No visits logged by any county official. At 10 a.m., I decided to take a walk around the house. The sun was out. That had to count for something. The backyard smelled wrong, like damp dog fur and decaying leaves. I made it to the edge of the tree line, near the footprints I had seen earlier. They were gone, replaced now with flattened grass and a single, horrifying sign, a dead bird. Its eyes had been removed, neatly, as if scooped out. I rushed back inside. It's getting inside. No, I haven't seen it physically cross the threshold, but things in the house are changing. Subtly. Last night, my toothbrush was wet. Not like I used it, but dripping. This morning, I found clumps of black fur in the bathroom sink. And when I checked the cabinet under it, the wood was damp and smelled like urine. I'm not going crazy. I checked every lock, every window. Nothing was open. I sat in the hallway for over an hour in silence, hoping to catch movement. But it never comes when I expect it. It's always watching from the corner of my awareness, just outside reach. And that smile, it haunts me. I heard it speak. I know how that sounds. But around 4 a.m., after another power outage, I woke to the sound of low panting. It was rhythmic wet. I sat up and held my breath. Then came a voice. It was garbled like a throat full of fluid, gravelly and wrong. Daniel. I swear it said my name. My full name. Let me in. It didn't come from the window. It came from the vents. I slammed them shut and sealed them with duct tape. I didn't sleep after that. Max came over today. I didn't tell him everything. I knew how it would sound. But I told him enough to get him worried. He brought beer, said I needed company. We sat on the porch most of the afternoon, and it was the first time in days I didn't feel that. Presence. Max was skeptical, of course. Kept cracking jokes. But then, as we were talking, he suddenly stopped mid-sentence and squinted toward the woods. You see that? He asked. I followed his gaze. Nothing. Just trees. Never mind, he muttered. Thought I saw something. But after that, he grew quiet. We both went back inside. He left around 7. Said he had a weird feeling, but brushed it off. I begged him to stay, even joked about being cursed. He laughed, but his eyes didn't. After he left, I stood at the door for a long time, staring into the darkness. That's when I saw it again. The dog, standing in the middle of my yard. This time it didn't sit. It stood like it was ready to move. Its fur looked slick, glistening in the moonlight like it had just crawled out of something wet. And the way it stared, its head was too still. Eyes wide open, dry, unblinking. Then it opened its mouth. Something dropped from it. A tongue? No, a human finger. I spent the morning on the phone, animal control, local cops, even a paranormal investigator hotline I found online. Nothing. Max hasn't returned my calls. His phone goes straight to voicemail. I don't know if he's avoiding me or if something's wrong. The power keeps flickering every day at exactly 3:14. I don't know why. It's always the same time. That can't be a coincidence. The scratching has stopped, but now I hear breathing. Not mine. Not the fridge or pipes. Heavy, lung-wet panting. Sometimes it's behind me when I stand at the sink. Sometimes in the hallway. This morning, I found fresh paw prints inside my kitchen. They led from the fridge to the hallway and stopped in front of the bathroom. No trail back, just ended there. I woke to barking, but it wasn't coming from outside. It was in the walls. Not aggressive barking. It was low, steady, like a dog warning something. And worse, it came from multiple directions. At one point I thought I heard whimpering, like a dog in pain. But when I went to the crawl space and opened the latch, nothing. Just the smell. That same wet animal rot. I finally checked my laptop again, trying to distract myself. I noticed something chilling. In one of my webcam thumbnails, recorded automatically whenever motion is detected, I saw a frame of myself sleeping. And behind me, in the corner of the frame, was a silhouette. For legs. Head tilted. Watching. No eyes. Just blackness where they should have been. I've started keeping the lights on all the time. Doesn't help. Now, things move on their own. Last night, all the kitchen chairs were pulled out and turned to face the back window, as if awaiting an audience. And one of them had scratch marks across the seat, deep gouges like claws. At exactly 3:14 again, the power flickered and all the lights dimmed, but didn't go out. That's when I heard it, a low voice, not from a human throat, but trying to mimic one. It was inside the house. Don't close your eyes. It came from behind the refrigerator. I backed out slowly, and then the fridge door creaked open on its own. Inside was my jug of milk, and on top of it, something wrapped in a torn scrap of red fabric. I unwrapped it. It was an eyeball. Glass. Like from a taxidermy dog mouth. But it was wet. And blinking. I barely functioned today. I couldn't think straight. Every sound makes me flinch. I can't trust anything in the house anymore. The mirrors fog on their own, even when there's no steam. Last night, I stared into one, just watching my own terrified expression, hoping for some sanity. And I saw it, over my shoulder, just the top of its head, the ears, the torn one. Its mouth was smiling in the reflection. But when I turned around, there was nothing. When I looked back into the mirror, I saw my own mouth curling upward into a smile I couldn't control. I tried leaving, packed a bag, got in my car, didn't even make it past the edge of the woods before I saw it in the middle of the road. Just standing, waiting. I slammed the brakes, honked. It didn't flinch. Then it spoke again. No mouth movement. Just a voice in my head. You can't leave. I turned the car around. Now I'm back in the house. There are scratch marks on the inside of my front door. And I didn't make them. This morning, there was a note on my table. Scrawled in blocky, childlike handwriting. It read, "You're almost ready." And beneath it, a paw print. Pressed in dry blood. Something's different today. The air feels charged, like right before a thunderstorm. My skin prickles whenever I walk near a window. The whole house hums faintly now, not from the fridge or any electronics, but like something alive beneath it, vibrating. I woke up to barking again. Only this time it was inside my room. I keep a tape recorder now. Just audio. Nothing fancy. When I played it back this morning, the barking was real. But then the barking changed. It warped, stretched into a human laugh. A rasping, huffing laugh, deep and wet. And then a voice whispered directly into the mic. "Come see me." It paused. "You're already part of me." I threw the recorder across the room. I finally saw it up close. I don't mean across the yard, or in a mirror, or on a screen. I mean in front of me. Tangible. Real. Breathing. It was just after midnight. I'd taken to sleeping in the living room with the lights on, TV playing static for background noise. I don't watch it, I just can't bear silence anymore. At 12:03 a.m., I heard scratching. Not at the door, but at the hallway wall, again from the inside. I grabbed a flashlight and walked over. The scratching stopped. Then, slowly, the wallpaper puffed outward like something behind it was pressing from the other side. Pause. You could see the outline. For clawed feet. A head pushing gently like it was testing the tension. I stepped back. Then, rip, the wallpaper tore open. And it stepped through. Not burst. Not pounced. It simply walked through like it had been waiting. Its fur was matted with dirt and old blood, patchy and diseased. Its face looked half-human now, lips curled into a stretched parody of a smile, but too wide, with teeth far too white. But its eyes didn't blink. Ever. They followed me as I stumbled back. I raised the flashlight, but the beam seemed to bend around it, like light didn't want to touch its skin. Then finally it spoke. You saw me, and now I see you. I must have blacked out. When I woke up, it was gone. The tear in the wallpaper had sealed over, like it was never there. I spent all day researching. I don't even know what to type into Google anymore. Dog that watches you. Haunted stray animals. Dog ghost. Nothing helped. Until I found a forum buried deep. Some paranormal page from 2008. Someone in Louisiana described a similar thing. They called it the Watching One. A creature that takes the shape of something pitiful. Often a dog. Always wounded. Always watching. According to the post, it doesn't kill you. Not at first. It attaches. Infects. Studies. And then it changes you into something like it. A vessel. A mirror. The original poster said, when it starts to smile, it's already inside. Their account ended abruptly after a few entries. No follow-up. I emailed the listed address. No response. I made a mistake. I tried to talk to it. Around 3 a.m., I turned off all the lights, sat in the hallway where it had appeared, and whispered into the air, "What do you want?" For a long time, nothing. Then a groan. Low, guttural, like something waking up. I felt it before I saw it. The air went heavy, the hallway darker than it should have been. Then it stepped forward, out of the shadow at the end of the hall. Only, it wasn't a dog anymore. It had limbs, human limbs, but bent wrong. Its spine rippled under mangy fur, like it was breathing out of sync with itself. It smiled. I want to go home. Its voice was familiar. My voice. I screamed. The lights flickered on, and it vanished. But the walls were still wet where it had stood. Soaked, like something oily had bled through. Max is missing. The police came to my house. They said he never made it to work after visiting me. His phone was found in the woods near the edge of my property. Smashed. They asked me a lot of questions. I lied. I didn't know what else to say. A dog with no eyelids took him didn't feel like the right answer. After they left, I found something under the porch. A collar. Old. Rusted. The tag read Max. I don't know if it's a warning, or if it's what he's becoming. The presence is stronger. I see its shadow in daylight now, cast against the wall even when no one's there. It moves when I don't. I set up a camera in the hallway. At 3:14 p.m., it caught something. Not a body. Not fully. But a set of eyes opened in the darkness. Just hovering. Reflecting the light. Wide. Unblinking. The camera fried. Smoked and sparked until it died. I tried burning sage. Calling priests. Every ritual I could find. But nothing stops it. If anything, I think I made it angry. I left food out. I didn't want to, I swear, but I felt compelled. My hands moved on their own, opened the fridge, pulled out raw meat, and placed it at the back door. Then I sat and waited. It came out of the woods, slow and sure, as if it knew I would. It sniffed the meat, then looked at me. Then, without breaking eye contact, it ate. Its teeth didn't chew, just crushed, bone and all. Blood seeped through the cracks in the wood floor under it. But when I checked after it was gone, no stain. No trace. Except one thing. The meat tray was gone, replaced with a folded piece of my own clothing. A shirt I hadn't seen in days. It was still warm. I tried talking to my mother on the phone today. Told her I wasn't feeling well. Thought maybe I should come home. She listened, then said, "Daniel, honey, you came home last week. You're here, remember?" I don't know what that means. She lives in another state. I hung up and cried for 2 hours. When I walked back into the kitchen, the windows were wide open. My drawers emptied, claw marks on the floor, and written on the wall in what looked like mud or blood were the words, "Home is inside you now." Today, I woke up to barking again. Only this time I was barking. My throat burned. My tongue felt swollen. I ran to the mirror, teeth bleeding. 2 of them, my canines, longer than before. I don't remember doing anything, but my hands smelled like dirt, and there was something under my nails. Fur. I saw it inside a dream, except it wasn't a dream. I was standing in the woods, naked, barefoot. The air was freezing, but I didn't shiver. It sat across from me, not speaking, not smiling, just waiting. Then I noticed more of them. Other dogs, or things wearing dog skin. They sat behind it, unmoving, watching me with the same expressionless eyes. And then I saw myself sitting among them. My face, my body, but pale, empty, like a puppet. The real me looked down at my hands in the dream. They were paws. I screamed awake. But there were pine needles in my bed. I don't trust my own reflection anymore. I caught myself watching me. The mirror in the hallway, the one I walk past a dozen times a day, showed me standing still long after I'd already walked away. At first, I thought it was a trick of the light. But no, the reflection held. It blinked. Once. I don't remember the last time I blinked. I went into town today. I needed to get away from the house, even just for an hour. I drove with the windows down, trying to breathe. The sun was out. Normalcy felt possible for a moment. But something's wrong with other people now. At the gas station, the clerk looked up at me and said, "Your eyes are dry." Then he smiled. His teeth were crooked and yellow, but they were sharp. Too sharp. At the grocery store, a child tugged at his mother's arm and whispered, "That man smells like the woods." She looked at me with pure pity. Not fear, not confusion. Pity. And worst of all, when I returned to my car, I found paw prints. Not muddy, bloody, leading from my driver's side door into the back seat. Nothing was there, but the smell like rotten earth and wet fur lingered. I dream of digging now. I see myself clawing at the dirt, fingernails cracking, blood soaking the soil. And something watches me from behind, breathing in rhythm with my own. When I woke up, my hands were filthy, nails black with soil. My bed sheets smelled like copper. I checked the backyard. There were holes, dozens of them, fresh, uneven, like someone or something had been digging furiously all night. One was nearly 4 feet deep. At the bottom, I saw a fragment of bone. I haven't owned a shovel in years. There are people missing in town now. I overheard on the radio 3 disappearances in 3 days, all near the woods. A jogger, a teenager, a postal worker. The sheriff gave a vague statement. Be cautious. We're investigating. But the locals know something's off. You can see it in the way they move. Hunched, watching. Some of them have begun showing signs. A mailman crossed the street in front of my house this morning, and when I looked closely, his eyes were white. Not rolled back, just blank, glossy. He turned his head slowly as he passed. His mouth hung open like he'd forgotten how to close it. And then he mouthed a single word. Soon. I heard voices in the trees. They weren't human, but they used human language. Dig deeper, they said. Let us in. You already did. And underneath it all, the sound of wet panting, like a dog struggling to breathe. I followed the sounds, flashlight in hand, well past midnight. My legs moved on their own. I reached the clearing with the old collapsed well, and that's when I saw it, the dog. But larger now, Taller, standing on hind legs. Its body hung like rags on a skeletal frame, skin sloughed off in patches. Its face was no longer a face, just a stretched film of wet fur and teeth and eyes that had begun to change. One of them was mine. Same color, same shape, same tiny scar from when I was a kid. It blinked. I started keeping notes on my body. New scratches, bruises, cracking teeth. I've lost 14 pounds in 2 weeks. Last night, I coughed up something black. It looked like fur. I tried shaving my face. The razor broke against something hard in my jaw. My tongue has a split down the middle now. I didn't notice it until I tasted blood while drinking water. I've stopped sleeping entirely. When I close my eyes, I see it. Waiting. My neighbors are acting strange. The Hendersons, who lived 2 lots down, left their porch light blinking all night. 3 flashes, pause, 3 flashes. When I went to check, their house was dark. I peeked inside. The floor was covered in bones. Not arranged, not stacked, just spread, all over the tile and carpet. And not animal bones, either. There were photos of them still on the wall. The family smiling. But in every single picture, the dog was present, in the background, sitting, watching. Even the baby's ultrasound print had 2 sets of eyes. It's inside the pipes now. I hear it in the bathroom drain, growling softly like it's curled inside the plumbing. This morning, the shower turned on by itself. I opened the curtain and saw paw prints on the wall, leading upward, and on the mirror, condensation traced in careful letters. Get used to the dark. The dream came again, but it wasn't a dream. I'm sure of it now. I was on all 4s, deep in the woods. My hands, no paws, were bloody. My mouth full of soil and bone. The others were around me, watching. Some looked like dogs. Others like people halfway becoming dogs. One turned its head and whispered with my voice. You blinked. When I woke, my pillow was gone, replaced with dead leaves and fur. I tried gouging my own eyes out today. Thought maybe if I couldn't see it, it would leave me alone. I got as far as jabbing a spoon into the side of one socket before I blacked out. When I woke up, no blood, no injury, but I couldn't see my reflection anymore. My mirror shows nothing. Just a room. Not me. They're calling to me. The ones in the woods. They howl at dusk, long, low, and sorrowful. But within the howl, I hear words. Names. Memories. Echoes of things I thought I'd forgotten. One night, they howled the song my mother used to hum. Another night, it was my own voice screaming. The forest behind my house has changed. Trees bend inward like bowing toward center. The soil smells sweet, cloying like rotting fruit. The wind always blows in, never out. And there's a hole now. A perfectly round pit where nothing grows. Sometimes I stand at the edge. Sometimes I feel like falling in. I found a collar on my front step this morning. New. Leather. No rust. The tag read, Daniel. I don't remember writing this entry, but it's here, scrawled in my journal. He watches without blinking, because he doesn't need to blink. Blinking is human, and I am not that anymore. My handwriting, but messy, shaky. At the bottom of the page, a paw print pressed in ash. I touched it and felt it breathe. I can't keep living like this. Today I stood in the middle of my kitchen, holding a butcher knife, fully prepared to cut something out of myself. I don't even know what. I just wanted it gone, the thing inside, the thing that watches from behind my own eyes. My fingers have changed. The nails are darker now, thicker, more like claws. My teeth feel crowded. I called Max's number again. Still disconnected. But then the phone rang on its own. Unknown number. I answered. There was only static for a moment. Then, still watching, it was my voice, but warped, lower, smiling. I made a decision. I'm going to the house in the woods. I've avoided it for weeks now. The one I found during that early jog, the one half sunken into the earth, with boards over the windows and a collapsed roof. But I keep seeing it in my dreams. And more than once, I've found footprints, paw prints, and human, leading in and out of the trees toward that exact direction. It's calling to me. I packed a flashlight, a crowbar, and a GoPro. I don't know why I brought the camera. Maybe to prove to myself I'm not losing my mind. Or maybe to document the moment I finally disappear. The air grew heavier the deeper I walked. Every step toward the house felt like I was walking underwater. Sounds were muffled. My skin buzzed, like every cell was bristling with static. When I reached the house, I realized the forest around it had gone silent. Not quiet, silent, like even the insects were holding their breath. The house was worse than I remembered. Mold clung to every inch of wood. The door was off its hinges. A faint whimpering echoed from inside. I raised a flashlight and stepped in. The smell hit first. Rot, piss, decay, and something sweet underneath. Something wrong. On the wall inside, written in what looked like dried mud or maybe old blood, home is a body that fits. I moved deeper. Every room had bones, stacked in corners, laid in careful rows. Some were marked with names. Max Ellie, Daniel, mine. Next to it, a collar. Not leather. Flesh. There was a trapdoor under the kitchen. It groaned when I pried it open. A set of stone steps led down into absolute darkness. The camera flickered. The flashlight dimmed. And then I heard breathing. That familiar, shallow, strained panting. But this time it wasn't just one. It was many. A low voice rose from the pit. You brought your eyes. Good. I descended. There's no good way to explain what I saw. The basement was huge, far larger than the house should allow. A sprawling, organic space. The walls pulsed like lungs. The floor was soft, squishy underfoot. Bones jutted from the walls like roots. Fur clung to the ceiling like cobwebs. In the center, the dog, but no longer even pretending. It stood upright. Its body was long, sinewy. Its head barely clung to the shape of a canine skull, the rest stretching into something vaguely humanoid. Its limbs ended in hands, but with claws. Eyes wide, dry, staring. Around it were others. Not dogs. People. On all fours. Hairless. Eyes missing. Smiling with broken mouths. One of them looked up at me. It was Max. He mouthed the word free. And then the creature spoke. You blinked. So you belong. I don't remember how I got home. The last thing I recall is the creature stepping toward me. I froze. Couldn't move. Couldn't speak. Just watched. Its eyes filled my vision, impossibly big, endless, like staring into a well. Then I woke up on my bed. The knife was gone. The camera smashed. My arms were scratched all over, like something had held me down. The door was locked from the inside. I don't remember coming back, but there were muddy footprints on the floor, leading away from my bed. I tried to destroy my eyes. Again, this time with bleach. A desperate, hopeless attempt. I got as far as opening the bottle. My hands wouldn't move. Something stopped me. Then I saw it. In the mirror. It was me, but not. Its eyes were wide open. Its mouth curled upward, and its teeth, all sharp. It leaned forward and whispered, "We need them to watch." I'm starting to understand. It doesn't kill. It converts. It turns people into watchers. We become its eyes, its mouths, its witnesses. That's why the dreams keep coming. Why I keep coughing up hair. Why the woods seem deeper than before. It's not haunting me. It's birthing me into something new, into something like it. I can feel in my bones. When I walk barefoot, the dirt feels right now, like skin against skin. I don't blink unless I remember to. I don't sleep. I don't need to. I dream awake. The house has become part of it. The walls breathe, literally. At night, the floor pulses. The vents exhale. I found fur growing inside the refrigerator. And this morning, the oven turned on by itself. Inside, baking slowly, was a small red collar. The name tag? MOM. I never brought her here. Did I? I've stopped keeping time. The clocks no longer work. Instead, I measure hours by how often the lights flicker, always 3 times before a voice speaks through the walls. It speaks in commands now. Lay down, dig, bark. I don't resist anymore. I don't remember how. Tonight, I stood outside for hours, just standing, watching the woods. A man passed by, jogging, same route I used to take. He saw me. He froze. And I saw the recognition, the chill, the instinct, the knowing. Because I was smiling. Wide. Too wide. This will be my last entry. Not because I'm giving up. Not because I've escaped. But because there's nothing left to say. There are no more questions to ask. Because I've seen it now, the truth. The center. The thing beneath the woods, beneath the bones, beneath the skin. It sees through all of us. It saw me before I was born. And now I see it. I returned to the sunken house. But it had changed. The trees surrounding it had curled inward like ribs around heart. The ground had softened, no longer earth, but something spongy veined. I stepped through puddles that blinked. I smelled copper and bile and the heavy stench of old breath. I wasn't alone this time. I saw others. Figures lurking near the edges of the trees. Naked, all fours, with white, unblinking eyes. Their limbs had grown too long, their movements twitchy, unnatural. They didn't speak. They only watched. One of them was Max. He didn't look scared anymore. Just calm, at peace. They followed me inside. I don't remember walking. It felt more like sinking, like the house pulled me downward. The floor stretched, deepened, opened its throat, and swallowed me whole. It's not a basement. It's a womb, a birthing chamber. I walked through tunnels lined with bones. The walls pulsed with warmth. Sometimes they whispered my name. Sometimes they barked. I passed piles of fur, still breathing. Faces trapped in half-melted expressions. Lips pulled back in wide smiles. Their eyes peeled open. In one room, I saw mirrors, but the reflections didn't match. One version of me was drooling. Another had no face. One walked on paws. Another was curled in a kennel, gnawing on its own leg. They all looked happy, terrifyingly happy. At the end of it all was the chamber, an impossible space beneath the earth. Skin walls, dripping roots, the stench of thousands of years of rot. And at the center, not the dog, not anymore, not just that, the original, the source, the watcher beneath the flesh. It had no clear shape, only a presence, a silhouette that shifted constantly. One moment it was a dog, the next a man, the next a thing crawling backwards out of a human skin. But always the eyes, unblinking, vast, staring from every surface, every pore, every drop of blood. And it spoke, not aloud, inside me. You are not prey. You are vessel. We feed on fear, but we live through witness. You looked. You understood. So now, you must remain open. Then came the pain. It started behind my eyes, like something crawling inside, wrapping around the optic nerve, pulling it tight. I screamed. I thrashed, but I could not blink. The light inside the chamber grew brighter. Not real light, awareness. Like 1,000 minds peeling me open, all of them staring, studying, not to kill me, to preserve me, to make me part of it. I don't sleep. I don't eat. I just watch. The thing in the woods is everywhere now, not just in the trees. It's in doorways, in puddles, in screens. It could be anything with eyes. It exists in perception. You see it, and it sees you back. And when it sees you, it remembers. Every blink, every weakness, every moment you doubted the rustle behind you in the dark. It collects those moments, and through us, it shares them. I'm one many now, a living transmitter, a storyteller. This journal isn't for me anymore. It's for you, because you've read this far. You've listened. You've seen the signs. So I'll tell you the final truth. It's not a dog. The dog is just a shape it wears, one that preys on empathy. You pity the stray. You let it stay. You make excuses when it doesn't blink, when it never leaves. That's the trick. You can't fight what you feel sorry for. It doesn't chase. It waits. And once you look long enough, once you begin to wonder, once you stare back, it opens the door, not just to your house, to you. Last night, I stood in front of the mirror again, but not to check for changes, to invite them. Behind me, the house pulsed. The walls had grown fur. The furniture now had teeth. The hallway had no end. And from the mirror, my reflection smiled. Wide, wet, unblinking. Then it blinked, just once, and the voice returned. Welcome. I opened my mouth and barked. I left this journal outside, somewhere someone like me will find it. Maybe it's already in your hands. Maybe you're on page 6. Maybe you're wondering if it's fiction. Maybe you're alone, reading it under a dim light. Maybe something just scratched your door. Listen carefully. If you see a dog outside, don't blink. If you do, it sees you now. There's one in every town. One watcher, one vessel, always appearing as something familiar. An animal, a child, a neighbor who never blinks. They're not hunting you. They're waiting for the day you look at them too long. And don't look away.